Yeah, welcome everyone. Barry, Lucy, Danny, Chris, Palden, Madeline, Srinamala again, Mandira, Teresa, and the others we can't see yet. Yes, hello, Anne.
Hi, James. I think you should know it's my first time. It's the first time I participate to this class, but I'm not.
Yeah, I was about to say welcome. I don't recall having seen you
No,
before.
it's the first time. Yeah. Thank you
So,
so much for having me.
okay, very good. So, do you have any background in Sanskrit?
Yeah, I've been studying online. I've been doing one-to-one for a couple of years, and I'm going to Ranjan Institute this summer. So I have a basic.
I'm sorry. Say that last bit again.
I will go to Ranjan Institute this summer,
Mm-hmm.
intensive. So I have a basic understanding of grammars, some element of it. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. But
And so what is your, may I ask, what is your native country or your native language?
I grew up in Italy. My mom is French, and then I live
Ah,
in France. So I'm Italian and French. So which one?
okay, right. Okay, very good.
I live in London, though. Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay. The one thing, Danny, I think if you want to be included on the email list where I send updates of the various study materials,
Yeah.
all you need to do is just drop me an email, and I'll
Okay.
just one second. Let me share screen. Oops. Sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
I think I have accidentally turned off the video. One second. Let me bring it back. Okay, I should be back now. Just press the wrong button. So I'm getting all over the place. Screen one.
Oh, right. Mm.
So we often have this little palaver where I share screen. Okay, you should all have a view of my iPad screen now, do you?
Yes.
Okay, so Danny and anyone else, I think all of the rest of you are on the email list. So if you just drop me an email, Danny, asking to be included on the list, I can put you there. This is my email. jamespwhelan67@gmail.com.
Sure, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you then, and you'll be on the list, and you'll receive all the updates and the learning materials and whatnot.
Great. Thank you so much.
Right, most welcome. So we have been. This time we're back to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 2. We're just about to start. Let me call it up for you.
Chapter 2. Right.
I keep losing it. Here we are, chapter 2, verse 2. Have you seen, you may not yet have seen my own analysis of it. Are you seeing this for the first time, Danny?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
right.
okay. I don't want to slow all class, so I'll try and follow.
Okay, right. It's just that all of the texts that we study, I produce these kind of detailed
great.
analyses with the etymologies and whatnot. But I'll send everything that you need when I email you in response to having seen yours. So off we go then. I'll just read it out first. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame samupastitam anarya jushtam asvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. And again, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva kashmalam idam vishame samupastitam anarya jushtam asvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. So this kutas, kutaha, literally from where. And it's like almost like an incomprehending question. How can you possibly behave like this? Where does it come from? So kutastva. Normally, the twam samupastitam, it has come upon you. The accusative of twam is normally twam, but as a shortened form, always enclitic, tacked onto the end of another word, it can be shortened to twa, and the same with mam and ma. Some of you may know the chant, Asato ma sadgamaya, from the untruth lead me to the truth. So from where, kutah twa, and goes by santi, then kutas twa. This kashmalam, this impurity or weakness, most words, as we know, most words in Sanskrit we can easily trace back to a root, and we have a fairly well-defined etymology for it. This is one of those words where there is no readily detectable etymology for it. One of those words you just have to accept as they are. So it's a combination of impurity and weakness. So kutas twa kashmalamidam samupastitam. From where has this kashmala, this weakness, come upon you? The upastita, stita, stood, upastita, approached, literally stood up to, approach. Samupastita, the sum is like the completion of the action, has fallen upon you, has come upon you. Vishame. The word sama is primarily an adjective meaning, like the English has essentially the meaning of the English word same, the same one. Also same, but more in the sense of even, like the same level all along. And it is negated here by the prefix vi. And following the normal rules of santi, vi sama becomes vishama. So vishama, the primary meaning is uneven. And in the notes here, I've done, let me just call up. Yeah, I've done a note here. And in Pali as well, visame chankame, on an uneven walking path. So originally it means uneven, and then by extension, it's something like when the going is rough or in a crisis. And here, that's the meaning that it has. Let me just call up New Williams for you. Here we are. So from sama, vishama, then uneven or rough, and then irregular, and then a number of extensions of meaning, rough and odd, unequal, and then unevenness, and then by further extension, difficulty, distress, or misfortune, all starting off from the basic meaning of not smooth.
Well, we might talk about a rough patch, mightn't we?
We do talk about a rough patch, yes.
Going
Yeah,
through
in fact,
going through a rough patch, so it's even sort of locative, isn't it?
it is, yes. So when we talk about a rough patch, that very exactly reflects the vishama in Sanskrit. And samupastitam, that the use of that verb is something that befalls you, something that just come up against you, samupastitam, and sometimes in a good way as well. I've cited below a little verse from few words from the Hitopadesha. Samupastitam. I've got a wonderful feast has presented itself to me, like stood up in front of me. Samupastitam. So kutastva krishmalemidam vishame samupastitam. So it's Arjuna saying, here we are in a crisis, and now of all times you want to be weak and feeble. Where does it come? Kutastvam samupastitam. So this anarya jushtam, aswargyam, akirtikaram. Arjuna, of course, the vocative. So anarya jushtam, aswargyam, and akirtikaram are all adjectives agreeing with the neuter kashmalam. And the kashmala can be an adjective meaning weak or impure, and equally it's a noun meaning weakness or impurity. So here it's a neuter noun, and therefore it has these neuter adjectives to agree with it. Anarya jushtam, displeasing or distasteful to the Aryas, to the Aryans, to the noble ones. This jush, the root jush, is cognate actually with the old English or old Germanic kios, from which we have the English word to choose. But that same root has gone into Latin as gustus, meaning a taste, as in de gustis non disputandum, the gustus, and into Italian as gusto, and into English as disgusting, French dégoûtant, something that is distasteful to you. It's that same root, gustus, that has come to mean taste, but it's something that is pleasing to or acceptable to. So jushtam is something that is pleasing or acceptable to you. Arya jushtam, something that is acceptable to the Aryas, to the noble ones. And then negated by the anarya jushtam, something that is distasteful to, unacceptable to the noble ones. Aswaryam, swarga means, it's commonly translated as heaven. It's like a place of brightness. It's from, let me call up iPad again. Here we are. Oops, pen. I've done a note on it. There's the old Proto-Indo-European root, which is something like sol, meaning bright. And it's from which we get the Sanskrit Surya, meaning sun. But from that same root, we get the Swarga, which is the place of brightness, meaning heaven, Swarga, which, by the way, in Pali becomes Sagga. Interestingly enough, from this same root, or rather the sol root, we get the Latin sol, Italian il sole, French soleil, and in English, or in the Germanic languages, as often happens, the r or the l that you find in the Vedic and the Latin flipped over to an n sound. That's why you get die Sonne in German and the sun in English. So this Swarga, il sole, the sun, are all from that same root. So originally it means brightness. So the Swarga, place of brightness. Now we've Swarga. Now we can very often make an adjective out of a noun by changing the just a to ya. So Swargya is something like fit for heaven, conducive to rebirth in a heavenly realm would be Swargya. And we negate it, Aswargya. So Aswargya would mean literally unheavenly. And then it means it is not conduct that will fit you for rebirth in a heavenly realm, is what this means. By the way, this Latin sol, Italian sole, you very often find that in Greek, a h sound, a h that you have, a s that you would have in Vedic and Sanskrit, sometimes it becomes a h in Greek. So, and the vowel can change. So the Greek word helios, modern Greek Ilios, but classical Greek helios, meaning the sun, is an heliotrope, for example, is from that same root. And the last of these three adjectives from Anarya Jushtam, Aswargyam, Akirti Karam. Now, kirti is a word meaning praise. I think in Mandira, can you help us here? In Hindi, in modern Hindi, can you tell us what the word kirtan means? Is it like a recitation of prayer, something like that?
Yeah, so sometimes there's a congregation of people
Mm-hmm.
and they sing and recite songs in because they want to, it's like a worship in a non-formal manner. So they
Okay,
remember
right.
a certain divinity and it's full of praises for that divinity.
Okay, right. Okay,
And it's
so like
normally done in a group.
okay, right. So it's a communal singing of the praises of the
That's right.
deity.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that, Mandira. So we have the root kri. Notice there are two roots kri. One, by far the more common one, is the one meaning to do, from which we get karma. But there is the other root kri, by coincidence sounds the same, homonyms, meaning originally the meaning in Sanskrit is to repeat something, and then by extension repeating the praises of someone. So which that now coincides with the meaning that Mandira has just told us about in modern Hindi. It's a repeating, a singing of the praises. And one of its meanings in Sanskrit is a good reputation. So when people repeat good about you, that's your kirti. It's your good reputation. And when it came into Greek, by the way, it lost the r. So the word kudos, or pronounced kidos in modern Greek, but in English with kudos, it's from that same root. So kirtikara means that which causes people to praise you, and that's something that gives you a good reputation, and again here negated by the a. So the akirtikara means the non-reputation making, means something that will ruin your good repute. And let's let somebody else in. So here we have the force of these three negated adjectives. Anarya jushtam, distasteful to the noble ones. Aswargyam, non-heavenly, that is not conducive to a rebirth in the heavenly realms. And akirtikaram, not leading to a praise, not leading to a good reputation, not leading to your name being praised. And finally, Arjuna is just the vocative form, of course. Excuse me, I'm just going to have to nip away for a moment. I've got the sun falling right across my screen. I need to put the blind. Here we are. So this verse is grammatically fairly simple, actually.
Could you go back to the text, please, James? We've still got your iPad.
Oh, yeah, here we are, yeah. So I'll just read it through slowly once, and then we can all have a turn at reciting it. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalam Idam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Makirti Karamarjuna.
James, sorry, I'm just looking at this business of Arya and Aryan, the racial origins, and in reference to noble people.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets very, very complicated. I wonder what the link right through was to eventually, of course, to unfortunately to National Socialism in the Hitler era. But yeah, it's extraordinarily complex. But apparently in ancient India, the term Arya was used by Indian Aryan peoples of the Vedic period. And then
Yeah.
The whole thing just seemed to, over the centuries, there seemed to be all sorts of racial theories, which eventually led to this horrible business in the Second World War.
That's right. Yeah, that wasn't the only thing to be distorted. I'll come back to that in a moment. But for example, you've got.
You're writing on your.
Thank you. Always need to be called out too, and I forget to show the iPad. So just look at an example of how these meanings can get badly distorted. We've got the word asti, meaning is. Okay, that's the one. It's the cognate with the Latin est, which then became in Italian e, and in French written the same but pronounced e. Asti, meaning is. And we have su asti, which means, as a noun, it can mean well-being. As a feminine noun, swasti means well-being. And also as a greeting, then indeclinable, swasti, swastite. By the way, under the phonetics of Thai, some of you may know the greeting in Thai, sawati, sawatika, or sawatikrap. It's a swasti, but in the phonetics of Thai. So it means well-being. And in Vedic times, there was the person who would come and give chants of well-being at, say, like some important family event, for example, a birth or a wedding or something like that. He would give a chant, a ceremony, to induce well-being and to induce swasti. And the person who did that was called the swastika. And swastika was originally the designation for the Brahmin who did it, and then later on the meaning became extended to a sign of well-being, which then the Nazis took over as the swastika. So swastika started off with a perfectly beautiful and lovely meaning, but was distorted somewhat in Germany in the 1930s. Now back to Chris's point about the Arya.
Sorry, James, what su means again? So I see
Sorry?
what su. So asti, ka.
Su, the prefix su means anything good or beautiful or lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So in fact, the prefix su is cognate. Again, this is another one where the Greek is lost here. Is cognate with the Greek prefix EU, as in which we have in English as euphoria, eugenics, euphonics. It's that same anything. If you put the su in Sanskrit and Pali or the eu in Greek, just mean anything good, beautiful, lovely. And for example, you have one of the epithets of the Buddha is the sugata, literally well gone to goodness. So Arya, it's the best explanation I've seen of it. It's from the root ri, meaning to go. And it makes, it's one of my favorite bits of etymology. So the ritu means a going, and therefore it means the seasons, as in the 4 seasons of the year. And then by further extension, the goings of the year, the way the year progresses through the 4 ritava, the four seasons. And then by further extension, it came to mean the particular ceremonies that marked the passage of time. So when in the English word ritual, which comes from the Latin ritualis, I rituali in Italian, it's the rituals are from that same root, meaning the go, things that mark the going of the year, the passage of time. Now, let us take the future passive participle, something that is to be done. We have the root kri, and from this root kri, we can make the participial adjective karya, meaning to be done, something that requires to be done, karya. From re, to go, we can make on that same measure arya,
Yeah.
meaning a desirable destination, a good place to be, the desirable status to achieve. So it started off, it's highly unlikely that it was regarded as a racial thing to start with. It was more
Yeah.
it was more what you'd made yourself as a human being. So not racial, but you'd done what we do in our Buddhist practice. You'd enhanced by your bhavana, you'd enhanced your own being. You were an Arya, so not racial. But then it seems, well, I don't know when it happened, I'm not sure if it is known, that it then started to be used to distinguish us and them.
Yeah.
The Aryas and the non-Aryas. And then in two countries in particular, it actually then formed the name of the country. And one of them, of course, is Iran, which is from that same root.
Yeah.
And the other is the land of my own forefathers, Aram, which we now know as Ireland. So Iran and Ireland and Arya, Aryan, are all from that same root. So as I say, the original notion was just a desirable place to be, a desirable status or human achievement, and then later on became the names either in a racial sense, what race or tribe you belong to, and then by further extension, the names of countries.
James, sorry to ask, but I don't understand how you passed from are to go to Arya.
Okay, right. So to go, Arya means a place to be gone to. So a good destination, a good place to arrive at.
So it's just a conjugation of r.
That's right. It's the future passive participle. Place is to be gone to.
Okay, so it's just a conjugation of that. Okay,
that's right. It's not so much not exactly conjugation. It's a derivative participial adjective from it. But yeah, it's basically a derivative from that word.
Okay, and one other question: do you think that this Greek word "ri," as in the ancient sentence "tapandari," everything is flowing, is the same root from Sanskrit to ancient Greek?
Sorry, which ancient Greek word is that? I didn't catch well.
There is this famous sentence "tapandari," everything flows. It's one of the ancient philosophers.
Pandari, yeah. As in Ria, yes, Ria, the flow. Do you know, I hadn't thought of that, but I think it's very likely, yes. Yes. Very likely, yes. I hadn't thought of that. I'll see what I can find out about it. But I think, yeah, it sounds likely.
Yeah, it's the Greek verb "rei," which means
that's
flow.
Right. Rei meaning to flow. Yeah, it certainly looks like it, but I will I'll try and double check that and report back next time. Report on my findings if I can find anything.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, right. So where were we? Okay, I think we've got to the end of that little bit. Oh yeah, and by the way, the Indo-Aryan languages, it started off as a purely linguistic term, and there've been so many migrations of tribes that it was there was no longer any or very, very diluted racial component. But that, again, going back to Chris's point, it was because there's the whole family of languages then described as either the Indo-Aryan or the Indo-European languages. That was just a term that was used by linguists to describe a language group, and then completely distorted as if it related to a genetic component. So there are certain genetic components that can be traced, but to talk about an Aryan race was, to put it very mildly, something of a distortion done for political purposes, with rather the same as a swastika, a bit of a distortion done for political purposes. So there we are, Aryans and swastikas, both words that have perfectly noble, respectable origins, but distorted.
James, can I pull you up on your spelling of Aaron?
Okay, sorry, please do. Yeah, I'm ashamed to be picked up on my
So you
spelling.
need an E before the A, or else we need to call it Ira with just an E.
I need a what?
You need an E between the or and the A.
How do I spell it then properly?
E-I-R-E-A-N-N.
With a
Or
double
else
N
we
at the
just-
end.
I think I'm not sure actually, but
Aaron.
or else you could just say E-I-R-E. That's actually
Okay.
more
Goodness
proper.
me. How
Aaron.
humiliating. That's a man like me
It's
with,
okay, I just have to
with
pull you up.
both parents from County Cork, and I can't even spell Aaron properly. So, okay. I'm more accurate when it comes to spelling Sanskrit, though. So don't you worry, chaps. So back to where we were then. So back to the text. Call it up for you. Well. So any comments or queries, and then we can go and do some recitations of it. Right, so let's try some recitation of it then. So first on my screen is Barry. Would you care to recite the verse for us, Barry?
Certainly. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kutaswa Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtamas Anarya Jushtamas Vargyama Kirti Karamarjuna.
Okay, very good. And I noticed in particular what was good, that you, although we've written them as separate words here, which they are, that you pronounce it in a flowing manner. So not an anarya jushtam aswargyam akirtikaram, but flowing as it would be pronounced by a native speaker. Anarya jushtam aswargyam akirtikaram arjuna. Okay, thank you, Barry.
Okay.
Lucy, would you like to come in for us?
Yes. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutasdva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupashtitam Anarya Justam Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna.
I noticed a slight lapse into la phonétique du français there. So Aswargyam, try to pronounce this like, imagine you're an Indian of 2,500 years ago. Oops, what's come up here? Aswargyam. Aswargyam.
Asvargyam.
Can you do the R sound?
Asvargyam.
Okay, well I know it's awfully difficult for the French, isn't it?
Yes.
Presumably, Danny, you can do all of them entirely correctly. A r and a r and a r.
Apparently so, yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you then, Lucy. We're round to you, Chris.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashamalam Idam Visame Samupastitam Anarya Justam Awagyam Akriti Karam Arjuna.
This one, Kashmalam idam.
Kashmalam Midam.
Kashmalamidam, idam meaning this, of course. So Kashmalamidam. And also this, I think you slipped a bit into English here. The just came out, I suspect it came out a little bit like the English word just. Say Anarya Justam.
Anarya Justam.
That was much better. That sounded more authentic. Anarya Justam. Okay, very good. Thank you, Chris. Halden, we're round to you.
Shribhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidang Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Asvagyama Kirtikaram Arjuna.
Can you make the last pada rather flow more? Akirti Karamarjuna. Akirti Karamarjuna.
Akirti Karamarjuna.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Palden. Madeleine.
Yes.
Round to you.
Yes.
Please.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Justam Asvargyam Kirtikaram Arjuna.
I just missed out that little Asvargyama Kirtikaram Arjuna.
Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Madeleine.
Thank you.
By the way, this Shri, I think you all know the Shri, don't you? Well, Shri Animala certainly knows the Shri. It's the same Shri as Sri Lanka. It's the original meaning in Sanskrit is brightness or glory. And then it comes to be used as just a term of veneration or respect. And I think in Hindi you use it, don't you, Mandira, as a Shri before a person's name as a term of respect.
Yes, we do that.
Okay, right. And if you're speaking to a woman, we say Shrimati, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, that's because the adjective is Shriman, and the feminine form is possessed of, possessing Shri. So if you're speaking to a man, you just say Shri, use the noun Shri. But if you're speaking to a woman, you put it in the adjective form, Shriman, of which the feminine is Shrimati. And you can also, in fact, there's only, I think the only place I know in the modern world, unless it's done elsewhere in India, is, of course, Sri Lanka. Just not, but the original name of the island is just Lanka, as in the Lankavatara Sutra, the Lankawi. But Sri Lanka is just a sign of respect given to your esteemed homeland, Sri Nimala. And here it's used in that same sense, the glorious Bhagavan, the glorious blessed one, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Does Bhagavan come from James? Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I'm happy, but I just wanted to ask, I'd like to hear about the Bhagavan, but is it Srimati is between an E or an I at the end?
Sorry, which one?
Srimati, the famous.
Srimati. It's the long E sound. I'll just give you iPad. So the noun is Shri, and the adjective, well, stem form Shrimant, masculine, nominative masculine singular Shriman, and the feminine form Shrimati. So Shrimati. This actually is a good place just to remind you of the composition of the word Bhagavan. So Shri, let me divide the words here. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The root bhaj originally meant the idea of sharing, a share or a portion of something is the meaning of the root bhaj. And it has a dual meaning, both of receiving a share of something and also of giving out a share of what you have. It has both of those meanings, the receptive and the giving. And it makes a verbal noun, bhaga. By the way, you often find with these roots that have a j in the root, it has a g in the verbal noun, of which our most famous example, of course, is the root yuj, meaning to join, which makes the verbal noun yoga. So we have bhaj, to share, bhaga. So bhaga, the original meaning was a share or a portion. We can make an adjective, a possessive adjective out of that. Bhagavant or Bhagavat. And the masculine singular form is Bhagavan. And it has the dual meaning of one who has received much and also one who gives much. It's often translated as blessed. You have received much and you give much. In modern Hindi, Bhagwan, it's pronounced, it has the meaning of Lord or even God. Can you just, and also it's a title of great respect given to a guru, for example. So some people will even refer to their guru as Bhagwan, using the modern Hindi pronunciation. Yeah, tell us how to pronounce it correctly in modern Hindi, Mandira.
It's pronounced as Bhagavan.
Bhagavan, okay. Bhagavan.
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan. Would you ever pronounce it Bhagwan?
I think I've heard people say that, speak like that, Bhagwan. Especially when you have dialects like Punjabi, because there Hindi is used in a very different manner. So,
okay, right.
The letter G becomes half G.
Okay, right, I got it. But it's interesting that to hear you pronounce it Bhagawan, putting a little Gwa, because if in regular ordinary Hindi that would disappear and it would be pronounced Bhagwan. But I can detect here that when people are using that word, they've got a bit more of the sense of the Sanskrit pronunciation of it, which is why they leave that little there, Bhagawan, Bhagawan.
But normally we do not use the Sanskrit pronunciation. We say it Bhagwan. So
Okay, right.
it's not just confined to languages like Punjabi where the whole G is missing. So
Okay, right. I've got it.
when we
Yeah.
are speaking fluently, so we just say it like this, Bhagwan ki kripa hai, like that.
Okay, right. So it's used then, it's got this variety of meanings. Sometimes it's just used to mean God in a more general sense. Sometimes this high sense of respect. Among the Buddhists, it's often translated as the Blessed One. In Pali, it becomes Bhagava, the last N drops. So Bhagavan in Sanskrit, Bhagava in Pali. That's often translated as the Blessed One. But from this root of having received much by way of blessing and giving much by way of blessing.
James, can I ask a very basic pronunciation?
Please do, yes.
The aspirated B. What's the correct way to pronounce that? Should there be is it correct to put a separation between the B and like Bhagavan, something like that, or
no, it's not. Hang on, let me. You see, although we write it with two letters in the Roman script, that's simply because we lack a separate symbol for it. It's treated to the Indian ear. The ba is one sound, ba is another sound, and they're two entirely different sounds. When an Indian hears or speaks the sound ba, he doesn't think, ooh, I'm saying a b followed by a h. No, it's a sound on its own. It's a separate sound, and they have a separate symbol for it as well. So in the Devanagari script, that is the letter for ba. Bha is a completely different, it looks different, it sounds different, and to the Indian ear, they're two completely different sounds. The aspiration is joined directly, there's no ah in between. Now, interestingly, we have the word bhasha, meaning speech or language. Many of you will know that the Malays and the Indonesians have used that as a loan word. So the Indonesians, when they talk about Indonesian language, they talk about Indonesia Bahasa, and the Malays talk about Melayu Bahasa. In Malay, it's written separately, Bahasa. But the native Indian speaker would regard that as a very odd thing to do. It made it into two syllables, ba-ha. No, it's not like that in Sanskrit and Hindi, just ba, ba. There's one sound with no vowel in between. It's a bit, rather a difficult sound for most Europeans to master. But if you look at the ah and pa. Now, for example, when the English speaker, I'm thinking in particular southeastern speaker, it's a bit different in Yorkshire. When the English speaker pronounces the sound pin, it comes out like an aspirate, a puff with a bit of puff of breath after it. So if you can just feel, if you say, native English speakers here, if you say the word pin, just put the back of your hand under your mouth, pin, you can feel a puff of breath, pin. But if you say spin, there's not such a puff of breath there. So the native English speaker will find it a bit difficult to have a p on its own at the beginning of a word followed by a vowel. He'll make it come out as an aspirated. So the Hindi speaker, if an English person says pin, the Hindi speaker will hear him saying something like pin, not pin. Say pin, pin. So the native English speaker can detect those differences in the unvoiced stops, the p, t, p. But the difficulty is to get this b right, back to Barry's question, with no intervening vowel. So,
Bhak.
bha.
Bha.
So, yeah, okay, let's have our native Hindi speaker back. So, sorry to trouble you,
can I ask you-
Mandira. Yeah, so one second, Paul, I'll be right with you. So, Mandira, I can just say Bhasha, Bhut, Bhagavan.
Bhasha, Bhut, Bhagavan.
Okay, now, thank you very much, Mandira. In all of those, you hear there was a b followed by a slight aspiration, but no vowel in between.
Yeah, I heard that. Yes, thanks.
Yeah,
Dr. Peter,
okay.
thank you.
Paola, yes, so please go back.
Yes, thank you, James. I do understand the point of no vowel in between, but when you try to say this as in bhakti, or you do kind of have this buha type of situation. So there isn't, it's not bhakti or bhavan, but there is this bha, like there is a sort of, so is that okay in terms of trying to get to the destination of pronouncing it right? It's a bit like saying pin, as opposed to pin.
Yes, yeah. So I'm not quite sure that I've followed your question. There's and have you got the overall principle? You've just tried to pronounce it as a single sound.
Yes. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, and it was, I mean, it was one of the sounds, or this group of sounds, bha, da, ga, originally did give me a little bit of a problem when I was starting off my studies in well, Hindi and Sanskrit many years ago. It's not native for us to say it, so we tend to slip in a little vowel, like the Malays do in Bahasa, which sounds odd to the Indian speakers. No, it's just one sound, not Baha, but Bah. Now, if you hear a little vowel coming in when I pronounce it, it's simply because even after all these years, I have to force myself to say it right. Sometimes it comes a little bit difficult to me still.
Sorry, James, I know my question better now. My question really is, okay, about no vowel in between, but how about the fact that you hear the H quite clearly? So bhakti. So
well, that was good, yeah.
So are we allowed to pronounce the H, or should that be quite silent as well?
Oh no, the H you do hear. You do hear it quite distinctly, because, for example, to the native speakers, ba and bha are completely different sounds. So if you say Bhagavan, the native Indian speaker, particularly of northern India, will say, that's wrong, it's Bhagawan, because that H is distinctly sounded. It's very small and is joined on to the preceding consonant, but it is very distinctly there. And to the native ear, they've heard it from birth. To the native ear, it is a completely different sound, and the h sound is very distinctly there. And it's a mistake not to do it. You mean something You'll produce a different word. So does this deal with your question, Paula?
Yes, very much so. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Thank you. So, where had we reached? Oh, I think we'd reached you, Anne, if I'm not mistaken. Had you recited yet? I don't think so. Okay, right. Round to you, Anne.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutashtva Kashmalam Midam Vishame Samupashtitam Anarya Jushtamasvargyamma Kirtikaram Arjuna.
Okay, that was pretty good, but sometimes you're saying a sh when it should have been a
Sa.
sa. So,
Yeah, I always do that.
for example, samupastitam, both of those are a pure dental s. Samupastitam.
Samupastitam.
That's exactly right. Samupastit, correct. Okay, thank you, Anne. Thank you. We're round to you, Roger.
James, could you please share the
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Please.
my mistake. Here we are. Always remind me, I'm forgetting the whole time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kudas Twa Kashmalam Idam Vishame Pastitam,
Pastitam, yes.
Anarya Justam Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna.
Okay, very good. Now, an interesting point arose here.
Oh dear.
It's all right. It applies to all native English speakers. And possibly in this particular case, to the speakers of other European languages as well, we can fairly easily hear the difference between, so you say, ti and ti. Now, just as you were saying, in English, when we say pin, we feel that there's that puff of breath coming out, whereas if we say spin, there's no puff of breath, or a lot less. Remember that in Sanskrit, you can have a s followed by this full aspirated stop, st. So it's got to be fully aspirated. So the root is sta, not sta, but sta. So even though there's an S in front of it, it's got to be given its full aspirated value, sta. And so this upastitam, it's still got to be pronounced as an aspirated t. So can you just say again, samupastitam?
Samupastitam.
Very good. That was that was a lot better. Okay, thank you, Roger. Kath, we're round to you.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirti Karamarjuna.
Wonderful as always. Thank you, Kath. And Shri Nimala.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutasvat Kashmalam Idam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Justam Asarvaigam Akirti Karmarjuna.
Akirti Karamarjuna.
Akirti Karmarjuna.
Right. Now this is actually in the Pali class before this, we were discussing the differences between how this final short is pronounced. So just to have demonstration now from native speakers, I'm going to ask first you, Shri Namala, and then you, Mandira, just to say the simple word, let me separate it out here. Just say the simple word uvacha. Now you say it first, but in your singular
Uvacha.
pronunciation, uvacha.
Uvacha. Uvacha.
Uvacha, that okay then. Now, how would you pronounce it as a native Hindi speaker, Mandira?
You want me to pronounce it in Hindi or in Sanskrit?
Pronounce it in Sanskrit, but as a native Hindi speaker, which you are.
All right. Uvacha.
Okay, there's a slight difference. The Sri Lankan one is more of an sound, whereas the Hindi one is more of an a bit more of an open sound. But it's just regional variations. There's no grammatical difference. It's the same phoneme. It's the same sound. Okay, thank you, Srinamala. We're round to you, Sanyu. Oh, talking of pronunciation, Sanyu, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So I start. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Kutasva Kashmala Midam Vichame Samuspatidam Anarya Justam Ashwajyam Akiritakaram Arjuna.
Okay, right. Can you just do this samupastitam again?
Samupastitam.
And as I was saying earlier, in connection with Roger's pronunciation, make the h sound after the term word samupastitam.
Samupastitam.
Yeah, okay, that was much better, Sanyu. Okay, thank you. We're round to Mandira. So scroll down so that the Devanagari is visible to you.
Yes, thank you. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalam Midam Vishme Samupasthitam Anarjushtam Aswargayam Kirti Karam Arjuna.
Okay, wonderful. As a matter of interest, can you just pronounce this word again? The Vishame.
Vishame.
Right. Now, I think we may have discussed this before. In the two sounds, the two sh, there's the palatal sh and the rectiflex sh. Now, when you hear the Brahmins chanting the Vedas, they carefully distinguish between the sh and sh. But I think in modern Hindi, the sounds have pretty much merged into one. So I think I heard you pronouncing the that's the Petkatasha, is it? Did you?
I think I just say it in a very Hindi manner. I pronounce
right.
it in a Hindi manner. Because it's difficult for me to reach that level of perfection when it comes to pronouncing certain letters.
Do you say reminds me Shankarabalasha and Petkatasha?
Well, I try to, but sometimes I think it's the Hindi which overpowers the
Okay, right, yes.
slok that I'm reciting.
But are those the correct? I think you told me those two as Shankarabalasha and Petkatasha, is it?
Yes, that's
okay.
James,
Roger.
Anatomically, what is the difference between the production of the S with an acute and a subdotted S?
Okay, anatomically, I'm glad you asked that question like a doctor, Roger. There we are. Now, if you can see anatomically, it's very distinct when you're pronouncing the difference between the and the. So the is the dental sound where the tip of your tongue is against the back of your teeth, just touching the back of your teeth. The. And that would is the way, for example, the French and the Italians pronounce more like a the. But anatomically, then you have to bring the tip of your tongue back, just behind the ridge of the teeth. It comes out as da, da, da. Can you feel it?
Ta, yeah.
More of a da, almost make an effort to bring the tongue, so instead of pointing forwards at the teeth, is back and pointing up slightly. Da. So if you've got the da and the da right, it's the same. And now say a j sound. Where's your tongue? Where's you pronounce it?
J.
A j.
J.
Now, if you have the tongue in broadly the same place as, say, for the da, da, now say sh, sh. So the tongue is further forward for the one with the acute accent over, sh, but is further back for the sh. Rather the same as where the d comes from. Put your tongue deliberately a little bit back.
So, so the acute one, it's further forward.
That's right, yes. And it comes out from the same place as the j.
Sh, sh,
sh, sh,
sh, sh,
sh, sh.
Sh, sh.
Yes, exactly. Exactly so. Now, that's the distinction that, although the distinction is preserved in writing in modern Hindi, as Mandira was just telling us, the two sounds tend to have merged into one. But interestingly enough, the corresponding da and da are still very distinctly differentiated by modern Hindi speakers. They're completely different sounds. The sh and the sh used to be completely different sounds for the Sanskrit speakers, but they merged. In fact, even at a fairly early stage, for example, there's the you have
We see a pad, James, please.
sorry, thank you. The word gosha means either a container or a sheath. You find that quite a while, I don't know how long ago, but both spellings were equally valid, and you still will find both spellings now. So, for example, you're going to find it gosha. You will still find both spellings now. That's kind of evidence that it was quite a while ago that in speech the two sounds became merged. But in writing, they still are quite carefully differentiated. Right, we've got time for just one more. Danny, would you feel inclined to give us a recitation of this verse?
Sure. Can you leave the Devanagari, please? Because it's bigger. I can see better.
Oh, okay. So would you prefer to read it off the Devanagari?
Yeah. I'm just
Very good. Glad to hear that, Danny. Do you find it easier from the Devanagari?
I do my best. Sri Bhagavan Anuvacha Kutastva Kashmala Midam Vishame Samupashtitam Anaryajustam Svargyam Kirtikaram Arjuna.
Okay, right. This, of course, in this one that I've highlighted, I've written it there as it would normally be written in the Devanagari script, running the words together. But in the second one, we've done the sandhi vigraha, literally the taking out of the sandhi.
Yeah.
So it's written with hyphens, and also here jushtam aswargyam, written as two words, which in normal Devanagari you wouldn't do. You see jushtam, there's this ma, jushtam aswargyam. This is done. It's also done in texts that are printed in India for example, Hindi and other native speakers who are learning Sanskrit. You will often see texts printed like that just to assist them. In fact, this I've just copied and pasted this out of an edition of the Bhagavad Gita that was published in India for native Indian speakers, those whose native script was the Devanagari script, notably Marathi, Hindi, Nepali speakers, for example, all use the Devanagari script. So it's perfectly valid as an aid, as a temporary aid, to use this this version with the Santi Vigraha.
Okay. Would you like me to read? Is that?
Sorry?
Would you like me to read? Is that what you?
Oh, sorry. Yes, yes.
Oh,
Okay,
right. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, so carry on and read it
Okay,
once more.
thanks. Yeah. Kuttaha tva.
Sorry. There's one extra thing that happens here.
Yeah.
So here we've done the Santi Vigraha. So we've the Kuttas by Santi, of course. Kuttah tva becomes Kuttas tva by regular Santi. But here, I was thinking of the word divisions really to help you. If you say Kuttah tva, that sounds awful, doesn't it? Kuttas tva. Okay, read it as you wish, Dani.
All right. Kuttastva kshamalam idam vishame samupashtitam anarya justam ashvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna.
Okay, very good. Just one thing, you pronounce that a bit short. It's Anarya.
Right, okay. Anarya.
That came out perfectly.
Anarya. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, look, we've just gone beyond 3. I have to shoot off in a few moments. Those of you who didn't get a chance to read, please remind me when we meet next time which ones you were. So I will see you again, hopefully in a week's time. And Dani, as I say, if you can just drop me an email,
Yes.
I will make sure you're on our emailing list.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
James.
thank you all very much then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, James.
Thank you,
Bye.
James.
See you next
Bye-bye.
week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.